Hello my friends and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. During these 3 years and 4 months almost since the garbage in Ukraine started militarily between the NATO countries and the Russians using the Ukrainians, my assessment of a direct confrontation between Russia and NATO was between sometimes 99% certain and let's say 90% certain. It was always within 9 percentage points, between 90 and 99. Sometimes it dropped, sometimes it got. I said, these guys are gonna get it. But it was never in my mind a doubt that these guys are not in a direct confrontation or they're not going towards that. It was just a percentage. How soon these guys, and the only stop to this I consider is a crazy threat coming from the Russians, from the Kremlin, telling these guys in the West, that's it. This is it. You got a deadline. This is it. You got 32 hours. After 32 hours, we are going to do this. That's it. Get ready. We don't give a fuck. And that would stop it. Until then, the West is ready and willing and is doing a conventional war, conducting a conventional war against Russia. With all this being said, we have the Ukrainians' intelligence coming and telling us that Belarus does not have nuclear weapons. Remember, the Russians said that they deployed Oreshnik missiles and ready with Iskanders and all that. Well, the Ukrainians said, no, they don't have any. The Russians did not deploy any nuclear weapons on Belarus. Well, that's great. That means the West can take its nuclear weapons from 7 locations on 5 countries in Europe. They have deployed, like before, like Khrushchev and JFK, the Americans deployed nuclear warheads on the rockets, on the missiles next to Russia, and when the Russians deployed or tried to build missile platforms and get ready to launch them, they never deployed any nuclear weapons. Nuclear warheads were never in Cuba. Got that in your head. Never. Why? They let these guys see it. See it so you can take your nuclear weapons. So Russia did not use proliferation of nuclear weapons. It's only on its territory. The Americans, though, they have nuclear warheads in 5 countries in Europe, in 7 locations. And who's the good guy here? So according to these guys, the Russians do not have nuclear weapons in Belarus. I'm going to discuss that. I have 2 articles. And then the second topic, you have some provocateurs. And the provocateurs are little countries in Europe who try to open new fronts against Russia. Conventional, mind you, conventional. Okay? And like for instance, the Baltic states, Poland a little bit, Romania to a certain extent, and Finland. So what happened now? The Finland's foreign ministry summons Russian ambassador in response to Russian aircraft's violation of Finnish airspace. Before Finland joined NATO, did they have anything like this? No. So that's the benefit of joining NATO. You're going to have the Russians harassing you because you're the victim. So let's discuss these 2 topics. Remember, now it's Finland's time. Before, remember how that Sukhoi 35 violated Estonia's airspace to have the Estonians release the vessel they captured, the Russian vessels from the Shadow Fleet. You remember when the Poles scrambled their jets to intercept some Russian planes in the international waters in the Baltic states? Well, the Russians are saying, you want to play? We're going to play. And who's going to help you? Do you think the Americans? We'll see. So therefore, the West activates these people, these bottom feeders. They're bottom feeders. The Baltic states, Finland and Poland. Maybe Poland not that much, but Finland definitely is a bottom feeder. And the Baltic states, they're the definition of the bottom feeder. So let's go to the first topic. Right there. Ukrainska Pravda. This is from Monday, the 26th of May, 2025. There are no nuclear weapons or Oreshnik intercontinental ballistic missiles in Belarus, Ukrainian intelligence says. Now, these guys, the Ukrainian intelligence hired or brought into the, how should I put it, international sphere, a round-headed baboon. This guy. I don't know where they got this guy from, but this is the face of the Ukrainian intelligence, if you can tell by everything. He is the face of the Ukrainian intelligence, right there. I think he is competing with Kuleba, who now is a professor in the United States of America, the former Ukrainian foreign minister, and he's also competing in a round face contest with Shima, now the current foreign minister of Ukraine. So let's see what this guy says. Oleg, that's the guy, okay? Ivanshchenko, head of Ukraine's foreign intelligence services. Hey, where is Budanov? Has said that nuclear weapons carriers are located in Belarusian territory, but there are no actual nuclear weapons there. And the same applies to Oreshnik intercontinental ballistic missile systems. Okay, and this is what he said, I'm quoting. The carriers of the nuclear weapons are there. That's true. There are jets, there are Iskander missile systems, but there are no nuclear weapons in Belarus. That's a fact. All right, thank you very much. So this guy right here, Belarus has no nuclear weapons, only delivery systems. Intelligence, the face of Ukrainian intelligence right there. All right, so that means the Russians did not give the Belarusians nuclear weapons. So then, if we are to be fair, then the Americans should take their weapons, nuclear weapons, from Germany, Turkey, I think Italy, Netherlands, and I think it's another country. Which one is it? Anyway, I can't remember which one is the other one. But there are 5 countries. 5 countries in Europe with American deployment. I think it's the UK too as well. I'm not certain anymore. But by elimination, that's what it is. As I said, Germany, Turkey, Italy, the Netherlands, and I think it's Belgium, Denmark, maybe one of the, again, bottom feeders as well. So they don't have it. So the Russians did not do that. But these guys did it. Why? Well, it's defensive. Okay, if it's defensive, can the Russians play defensive too? No. Can they play offensive too? No. What can they play? Nothing. They should just disappear. This is the West attitude. Now, I don't know about you, and I don't know how strong you are, but Russia is a strong country, and no one will dictate to Russia. Obviously, 7,400 nuclear warheads, and they did not deploy one outside of their country. And US, on the other hand, they're dealing it like lollipop. So who's the bad guy here? The Russians. All right, then I expect the Russians, as a sign of goodwill, to take their weapons out of Europe. They have France. France has nuclear weapons. Why do you need Americans? Okay, Great Britain has nuclear weapons. Why do you need the Americans? I tell you why. Because Europe is under US occupation and has a sphere of influence, but Russia cannot. Let's go to the second topic. Finland's foreign ministry summons Russian ambassador in response to Russian aircraft violation of Finnish airspace. Why didn't you shoot it down, boy? Why didn't you shoot that plane down? Finland summons Russian envoy over airspace violation. Right there. Finland's Ministry of Foreign Affairs has summoned the ambassador to the aggressor state, Russia, following a violation of Finnish airspace by Russian military aircraft on May 23rd. There you have it. The report indicated that 2 military jets breached Finland's airspace near Porvoo in the south of the country. Finnish Defense Minister Antti Attila, right there, said the suspected violation of territorial integrity is being taken seriously. Shoot it down! Shoot it down! All right, where is that located? They will not, obviously. They're just mouthpiece of the Americans. Here it is, and the interest of these guys right here. So this is Finland, this is Russia. Remember, the Russians kicked all these guys right here. The Estonia kicked it. So somewhere in here in the south, these guys entered there as a sign. Stay put. And these guys are guys from Poland, Uber Niemals. So this is where the garbage occurs, okay? So what do you think will happen? Well, in one of my videos regarding Russia smacking Estonia like that, I said an accident will happen, will occur. An accident in which one jet will fire towards and will destroy another country's jet. I guarantee you that will happen. 99%. It's going to be an accident. Maybe it already happened, but we don't know about it. But hey, what we don't know doesn't exist. Correct? Correct. And some of these bottom-feeding countries, Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania, Finland, Romania, Poland. Romania already voted a law that the new president will implement, that if any drone, Russian drone or airplane violates Romania's airspace, they will shoot it down. So they're ready. Good. I thought they was already ready. So why didn't, I mean, if someone enters my house, what do you think I'm gonna do? Hey, what wine you drink? You want some beer? No, get the fuck out right now. Maybe like that. However, whatever comes first, boom, boom, or choo-choo, doesn't matter. Get the fuck out. And if the guy says, huh? That's it. I call the how do you call it? The emergency services, not the police. All right, so that's what's gonna happen. So what's going on with these guys? Why don't you shoot it down? You show restraint. Remember, Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania, Poland, Finland, they're all big mouth, but they will be activated. I said this. They're very, very close, very close. And the Germans already lifted their restriction for range, the missiles they can send to Ukraine. All of them, the Brits, the French, the Americans, and the Germans can send Ukraine, they will use them, they will operate them, can send to Ukraine any range of missiles they want. What do you think the Russians will do? They will just violate your airspace and they're going to wait for you to shoot them down. And when you shoot them down, well, my bad, that's a declaration of war. You violated what? Choo-choo, boom, boom. Those people don't talk anymore. We'll find out, my friends. And these guys are going to push you. You know who's going to push you? I'm talking about the bottom-feeding countries. You're going to be pushed by this particular country right here. This is the pinnacle. This is the Hydra. This is the one. Right there. More precisely, in this slum right here, London. Why? Go and check it out. Look at its diversity and then you talk. Or go and have a little walk through London and see how beautiful it is now versus, 40 years ago. All right, so these guys are activating everybody towards the Russians. And the Russians have the ability to smack all of them at once. We'll see. You see, when I personally have a confrontation with someone, verbal confrontation or something, you try to calm it down, to de-escalate it and so on. But if you see that the other person is really wanting to go to something, I escalate it. I don't waste time. Let's say this is A, we start talking about, and this is where it gets fighting, like fist fighting. All this could take a while. It's a waste of time. If this guy is pushing it, I immediately jump right here. And say, how about we get here? We don't waste time. This is a waste of time. I know the direction, the vector goes towards the fist fighting. How about we just start it now and then we have more time for the day, or I have, because I hope you're going to be knocked out. You know what I mean? I already push it over there. I try to de-escalate, but if you see that person escalate, why should I waste the time? Like, for instance, with women. It's all this catch me, I don't wanna, but I wanna. I don't have time for too much of this garbage. All right? That doesn't mean that I know you now. What's your name? And we're already in bed. I'm not talking about that one. But it's a limit beyond. If you continue with the courting, I have no fucking time for that kind of courting. All right? My time is limited. I have many more important things than that. Yeah, exactly. More important things than that. If that's your life and that's what you like, not for me. Speed up the process or fuck off. The same with these guys. The Russians should just speed up the process and go to the eventually I said many times before, the Russians will reach this point in which they will give these guys a deadline. Otherwise, these guys are going to use nuclear weapons. And then people are going to be, oh my God, after what? After a country was flattened? So many hundreds of thousands of people were killed? When they could have done this at the very beginning. Get them out, we do it. Oh my God, it's too fast. It's like a band-aid, you just rip it like that. They waste time and their country, they are destroyed. People that are suffering. And I hope the West will use these baboons. What do you think Finland would do if the Russians enter again? Do you think that Finland will hit a Russian jet? You can say yes, because why? Because the Turks hit a Russian jet. Remember? Yes, it did. It's correct. But Russia at that time was not in a really fighting mode with the West. It was in Syria, fighting the guys that were activated and promoted by, we can't say, the ISIS, Al-Qaeda, Mujahideens. Sounds fucking familiar to you? Anyway, can't say these kind of things. Well, is it true or not? The same thing in India and Pakistan. Who do you think activated those freedom fighters in Pakistan, in Kashmir, to do what they did? I thought America fights the war on terrorism. They don't even consider them terrorists. What does that tell you? Maybe they're their boys? So again, play with fire. Russia eventually will reach that point where we say, okay, the fucking courting thing is done. We do it or back the fuck off. The sooner, the better. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.